be fun, man. I cannot wait to watch you guys play.
Coming to you from the My Michigan TV studios.
We're going to kick you in the teeth.
It's the Roar Live.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
With hosts, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
The outsider, Scotty William, and Corey Tiez.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Hello, everybody. Scotty William with you. You're listening to the Roar Live. I got Tony Blankenship and Corey Tiez with me today. We've got a great show planned for you. 31-29, the Lions come from behind and do what they had to do to win this game. Corey, what's your thoughts?
Good win.
Tony?
Good win.
Yeah, they persevered, showed some mental toughness. Something they're going to have to do for the whole season. They are the hunted.
Well, we have a great show, like I said, in store for you. Tony's takeaways. We'll have a tell it like it is from Corey. We'll talk offense. We'll talk defense. And we will get to the highlights.
Coming to you from the My Michigan TV studios.
We're going to kick you in the teeth.
It's now time for your highlights.
Battleground, U.S. Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. The 4-1 Detroit Lions would take on the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings hold the all-time series lead, but your Detroit Lions headed into this Week 7 game, winning the last 3 meetings between these two bitter Division North rivals. The Purple People Eaters would strike early on the Lions. First drive, a sack on 2nd down by Andrew Van Ginkel. It was then the Lions, 2 plays later, would try some trickery on a 4th down, but this time it wouldn't work. The Vikings would then strike early on the ground. Aaron Jones streaking off to the sideline for a 34-yard touchdown. Welcome to Minnesota, baby. Will Reichard would hit this deep kick 57 yards out. 27 of 27 to start this young man's career. But the Lions would strike back early in the 2nd quarter. Jahmyr Gibbs punches back with his 45-yard touchdown. Let the heavyweight fight begin. Jake Bates would cut the Vikings lead to only 3 on this extra point. Boom. And for the first time, next, it's St. Brown to this big drive from Jared Goff. The Lions up 14-10. Jake Bates would add on the extra point. And then the Lions D heated up a little bit. Brian Branch grabs this INT. 3 picks in 2 games. He has been on fire. The Lions didn't hold back. No, it was Jahmyr Gibbs again. Through the middle, boom goes the dynamite, and Jahmyr Gibbs in with a touchdown. The Vikings would come back here with this Sam Darnold throw deep to his man, Jefferson on the play. The best wide receiver in the game. That would cut the Lions' lead down. The Lions then would strike back on this play. Goff finds his man. Streaking down the sideline, touchdown. Another touchdown, this time to Khalif Raymond. The Lions still getting things going, but David Montgomery drops the ball, and then it's a streaking number 0 for the Vikings in for the touchdown. Jake Bates with the score and it was a Jake Bates field goal to end the game, 29-31. That's right. Jake Bates, Mr. Bigfoot himself, grabs the win. My guy, I love him. I love me some Jake
Mr.
Bates. Guys,
Bigfoot.
what's the takeaways here as we go into it? Tony, when we look at the Lions, they came in, they looked a little lackluster to start the game, but they really persevered. What is your takeaway on this?
You know, that's a great point. They did. They started slow, but they were able to get it together. Part of the problem they started slow because was because of coaching. There is no excuse for you to go for it from your own 30-yard line in the first quarter,
Right.
and try to attempt a fake punt. That was 7 points that the Lions gave them, literally. You're not going to stop anybody in the NFL. Your best bet is hoping they can get a field goal out of that. They should have been up 3-0 at the worst. But Campbell decided he wanted to gamble, and it's that time of the year. You're going to get some better coaching, better NFL teams who are going to be prepared for that kind of stuff. But even through that, being down 10-0, they fought back, took the lead, went up 11 points at one point, and Minnesota ended up coming back and taking the lead themselves by 1 point, not getting a 2-point conversion. And Lions were able to finish it off and get the win. Good win by them.
Looking at this first takeaway on Tony's takeaways, I guess the guys have the highlight ready to go here. Maybe not. Maybe not. There it is. Well, it's a Jake Bates field goal to end the game. But, Corey, what on this play here, Corey, the Vikings really got to the Lions early. And we knew this was going to happen. Is it shocking to you how frazzled they had the Lions early on?
No. Flores, right? Blank?
Yep.
Yeah, he's good.
Yep.
He's good. He knows what he's doing. Put some pressure on Goff. Make him do something different. Put pressure on him. Make him think faster. The one thing I will take away from this game is that I saw the kid Raymond get a touchdown.
Yes.
That's big. So now everybody's getting involved. Lions are going to be very hard to beat if everybody's getting involved like that. So I will give them credit on getting everybody touches, and staying with the game plan, even though they started out slow.
You are watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. And we want you to get in on the conversation. There is the QR code right there on the screen. Just click it, dial in, and get in on the conversation. What would be your second takeaway of this game, Tony? Let's fly into this next highlight. If I am not mistaken, I believe it was this Jahmyr Gibbs' first score of the game. I mean, this kind of boosted that morale of how they were playing there in the first. This is early in the second, but I mean, they struck back quick in the second quarter.
That young man is incredibly talented. He is a home run hitter. He is someone you have to always account for when he's on the football field. And as a defensive coordinator, it gives you nightmares to have to deal with him because he's a receiver out of the backfield as well, and he's a lot to deal with. And if you don't have linebackers and you don't have really good guys in the secondary that can tackle in space, he's going to make life really difficult for you. So, Jahmyr is special. Yeah. No question about it. He's going to be he's going to be very, very he's going to be very successful in the NFL in the upcoming years. So, good to see that for him.
Yeah, that was big.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries for 116 yards. That was his first touchdown run of the game. Corey, what did you think?
He's a star. He is the star of the team. Hands down. I thought that was Marshall Faulk out there. His feet. Did you see that? That move?
Yeah.
That's incredible. He's a star. He's the feature. I know they have a two-headed monster, but if he keeps running like that and they keep getting everybody involved, it's going to be a tough out for everybody in that division, in the NFL.
Right.
Jahmyr Gibbs, he was already good. I think today he just put the league on notice. I didn't know. Like, that was E.D. Falk-esque. That was crazy. That move and the way he ran the ball today, hats off. Hats off.
Looking at the Lions receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 receptions for 112 yards and a touchdown. They played pretty well through the air. Golf, 22 of 25, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. They did a good job defensively also, holding Darnold 22 of 27. He had a touchdown, a 1 interception. The big thing for me here is Justin Jefferson. Only 7 receptions, 81 yards and a touchdown. That's kind of like how they played CeeDee Lamb last week against the Cowboys, holding them to less than 100 yards. I think CeeDee Lamb last week had 89 yards, but no scores. How did you think that Lions secondary, Tony, did against this elite Vikings receiving corps?
I think they did a great job. I think not having their tight end at Minnesota helps a lot because you don't have the extra weapons. Is it Hackinson? Young man,
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson used to play with the Lions.
Yeah.
That not having him makes it a little bit easier. In Minnesota, not having a lot of weapons to go downfield, you can double him. You can double a guy as great as a receiver is. He's incredibly talented. I think he's the best player in the NFL besides Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And they did do a good job of putting somebody over top of him throughout the game and rolling the coverage to him throughout the game and always keeping 2-3 guys on him. And he still was able to get loose on certain plays and make great plays. So, and that's what great players do. Yeah. But give the Lions credit for being able to do so. Also want to note, Jameson Williams didn't do anything today.
Yeah. You were absolutely right on that.
No one has maybe discussed that, but he was a non-factor.
1 catch for -4 yards.
Yeah, he was a non-factor. So something to look at.
Yeah, that's something to look at. Absolutely.
Khalif Raymond did grab 3 for 39 and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, not only did he have 116 yards on the ground, he had 4 receptions for 44 yards on the day.
Yes.
So a multi-purpose guy he is.
Again.
David Montgomery, he looked good, 9 for 31. Got banged up a little bit. Does that kind of scare you a little bit when you see a guy go down, especially the human tank, as I like to call him, Tony?
He's had some history of some knee injuries. So I thought he was done when he went out. The way they was carrying him off the field, I thought he was done. But, credit to him and his mental toughness and his mental fortitude to come back out there and still play hard and give the Lions a boost. Until that infamous fumble.
Yeah.
You are watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. We want to hear from you. Get in on the conversation. Just scan that QR code and talk to us. We want to hear from you. What was your play of the game? Who was your player of the game? Those are the questions we're asking this week. We want to hear from you, whether it's in the Roar chat or on that QR code. Get in on the Zoom. The Vikings played pretty well defensively early on when we look at it. Van Inkel, the linebacker, 6 tackles today, 1 assist. He had 2 sacks. Ivan Pace Jr. got a sack. Jonathan Grenard got a sack. They were able to get to Goff pretty easy today. Is it something with the offensive line, Tony, or is this just a bad game?
No, I think it's neither.
Okay.
I think that you're dealing with elite-style NFL teams now. You're not playing against, just Seattle and teams that are not elite. When I say elite, I mean players and coaches. They have a combination of both. Minnesota is a well-ran machine. This win was a big win for the Lions. Very impressive because they have a really good football team in Minnesota. They got really good a coaching staff as well. So the schemes and the things they were able to draw up and build and put together, that shows you what you're going to have to deal with going forward the rest of the way. Yep. So. No, the offensive line is going to be fine. They just ran against some more good football players. And you're the hunted, as I mentioned. And you're going to take everybody's best shot every week. Yep. So coaching staff did a good job for the Lions, getting them prepared. They just ran up against some really good football players and some good schemes when it comes to, what they're going to have to do week in and week out.
Vernice Daniels on the Roar chat said a big question for the Lions is, will they play disciplined ball when it really matters? What do you? It kind of looked like they did today.
Yeah, they did. I want to give credit to your guy, Anzalone. He came back and he made some tackles.
Yeah, 7 tackles for an assist.
He made some. Yeah,
They were saying all day that he is the guy that has to step up since Hutch is out.
yeah.
Uh,
I said that last week.
yeah.
The linebackers have to step up now that Hutch is out. So give him credit on that. It was sloppy early. They got to clean up some of the penalties. Like, I know they had the new guy in there, but both teams were sloppy penalty-wise. So to go to that point, yeah, they need to clean up a few things, keep it clean, play clean football, and they'll be all right. Just keep giving the ball to Falk. Dickerson.
Falk Dickerson.
Look, Blank, he was out of the
Sanders.
backfield. Yeah, Sanders.
Look,
Yeah,
that move was Barry Sanders.
It was crazy. Like, he caught
nonstop.
He caught the ball, and he ran the ball.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So yeah, if they clean up those penalties, they'll be fine. Clean up the penalty. It was sloppy in the beginning, but they'll be fine.
Defensively, I was really impressed with Brian Branch. Another interception, his third in 2 games. He's looking like he's becoming a menace out there, and he's getting more comfortable in that safety spot. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, he's a solid player, another Alabama young man, and those guys have been efficient football players in the NFL for the most part when it comes to positions that are not the quarterback position for Alabama. And he's another guy that's been able to come into the NFL and play at the high level and be successful. And the Lions have done a good job putting him in a good scheme so he can be successful. So, yeah.
Did you notice in this game early on the secondary was a little more handsy, and they were kind of getting called for? They were more. It didn't seem like they were any more handsy than they were against the Cowboys last week, but this time it kind of hindered them there in the first quarter. Why do you think that is? Do you think they were just with the wide receiver group of the Vikings, they were just trying to slow them down, and it took them a minute to kind of get into the groove of things, Tony?
I think you have a more collective threat of offensive players. Mm-hmm. What's the young man, number 3 name from Minnesota?
Addison.
See, you didn't have that issue with Dallas. Sure. You had one guy.
Right.
So when you have a couple of guys, 3 guys, got a good running back in Minnesota, you got more threat. So guys are going to be a little bit more, antsy. They're going to be a little bit more anxious to not make mistakes, and because you got a lot more to deal with, a lot more dangerous football players on the field. So I think that's the cause of them being a little bit, handsy in that situation.
I agree with you, Blank, on that, but I'm going to go a step further. I don't think they're that good.
Okay.
So even Glenn said, we're going to put our hands on folks. So coming up down the road, like you said, they got quality receivers coming up. They were handsy with these guys. I don't think they're that good. So when you looking at Jefferson, you look at down the barrel of Jefferson and other kid Addison, those are great receivers. So they, I hands-on right in the beginning I saw, but I just think throughout the rest of the year, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get more penalties. I don't think Davis is that good. I don't think Arnold's that good yet. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
D. Moore said, Darnold had too much time, and we really need a pass rush to help. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, do you think with Hutch being out this week, obviously being out the rest of the season, do you think that they did pretty well without Hutch today? I think Anzalone stepped up. I think Kirby Joseph stepped up. Do you think they're going to have to go and find somebody to fill that role?
This is a piece, and shout out to Hutch, get well soon. This is a piece of my tell it like it is kind of, they look the same. They look the same with Hutch. I didn't see any difference. They look the same to me. The Lions defense isn't great with Hutch. They looked the exact same today to me if they had Hutch out there. That's just he had the 5 sacks against Tampa Bay, yeah. But, again, I saw the same pressure. I saw the same, getting to the quarter. I saw the same thing. It looked the same to me. I don't think they can win games without Hutch is what I'm trying to say here.
Well, they just did.
Yeah.
You're watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan Television. That is the QR code right there to call in on the Zoom. And, of course, we have a Zoom caller already. Do you want to bet who that is, Corey?
This is an easy one.
Is that
This Joey.
Eastvale Joey,
Eastvale
this time
Joey.
with a Michigan State shirt on?
Ooh.
They're getting it started.
Getting it started out. We'll get to
They
him
beat
in
Iowa
a second.
yesterday?
I'm surprised he didn't have a Lions shirt on.
Did they beat?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
Yeah, that's surprising. All right. Well, he's a
Eastvale
sticker.
Joey is on the line. Guys, we haven't said. All right, we'll give you a second.
All right.
Listen, what else did the Lions really do well today, Tony?
Well, to be able to get a lead like that, that was impressive. After being down 10, you spotted them 10 points, and then you came out and you went up 11. So that's a 21-point turnaround.
Sure.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to get down like that. They took their best shot at that time, and they didn't crumble. They didn't panic. But that's a veteran group. The Lions have been in this situation. They are, again, I keep saying they are the hunt because they are. They're the ones that are favored now to go and be the elite team in the NFL.
That is true.
So they're expected to do this type of a thing.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, you know, as they continue to go on throughout the season. It's still, you know, they're 5-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So it's 5-1. They're 5.
So they're 5-1. They're tied for first place, and it's going to be a war, man. This thing is going to be it's a long, long way to go. But you know, credit to them to be able to show that they have some fortitude and some maturity and some experience in seeing that they've done this before. This is not new to them now. This is what they expect from themselves, and they were able to get it done.
Yep.
I think what was impressive was them going into Minnesota and winning, and that crowd was about as loud as Ford Field.
Yeah. It was very impressive. But what you did today is what you showed me is you beat a good team.
Yep.
Dallas stinks. Cardinals stink. Seattle, you never know what you're going to get. You lost to the Buccaneers. They're a good team. The Rams are a bad team. You beat a good team today.
Yep.
That's all it showed me.
First time all year.
Finally.
First time all year.
First time all year, you beat a good team. In their place.
Yep.
Kudos to that.
We have on the phone right now from Eastvale, California, the Michigan State alum and Lion fan, Eastvale Joey. Joey, how did you feel the Lions did today, buddy?
It was a close game today, Scott. They came out on the road and played solid offensively and defensively, well enough at least to get the job done. We had a great second quarter, which turned the tide for us. Jahmyr Gibbs made a huge couple runs in the second quarter that kind of set the tone for the offense to get going. And Goff was spectacular again.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at how good the Lions were defensively today against the Vikings without Aiden Hutchinson?
Scott, that was the big question of the day. Were they going to be able to stop the run? Were they going to be able to put any pressure on the quarterback? And they were able to do that on both fronts. They didn't, they didn't have that edge rusher that was going to close the gap and make the play, but they closed the pocket pretty well and kept Darnold inside the pocket for the most part. He got free a couple times, but that's to be expected, when you can't get that first guy around the corner and get hands on the quarterback. So, I think they played pretty solid. I was a little disappointed with the refereeing in the game. I thought, they started out the game seeming to want to control the game before it really needed to be controlled. So a lot of flags that were pretty questionable, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Who would your player of the game be, Joe?
Jared Goff today. He was 12 for 12 again at one point. He made solid throws. He didn't put any balls in bad positions. He got lucky a couple times. He got that ball knocked out of his hands and was able to get it right back. But I think he was the player of the game. Jahmyr Gibbs, like I said, he made a couple key runs in the second quarter that kind of got us jump started. That led, to a decent running attack all game.
The question of the week, Joe, we had is, do you think without Hutch they're still a Super Bowl quality team? What do you think?
Good question. It's still a wait and see on that end. We didn't see anybody get around the edge and put pressure on the quarterback today, but they were still able to maintain. I was impressed with the Lions' defense to be able to maintain the front and to play solid defensively. And the cornerbacks and the defensive backfield played solid. Branch made an incredible catch on that interception. It was sick. It was like he was a receiver. I think they're definitely still a Super Bowl quality team. And again, like I've said all year long so far, it all is going to come down to whoever's out on that field at the end of the season. So barring any major injuries, I think we can still get there.
Eastville Joey, thanks for calling in. We love you, buddy. And
Thanks for having me
we'll
back,
talk to you
guys.
next week, man.
All right.
Indeed.
Thanks, Joe.
As the Lions head to Nashville next week to take on, no, I'm sorry, they're back home at Ford Field as the Titans from Nashville, Tennessee, come into Detroit. Looking at some of the Roar chats right now, here's a question for Tony. What must the Lions do between now and January to win the Super Bowl? That is from Sean Black.
Thanks, Sean, for tuning in with us, man. It's my brother. I appreciate it. QB, a few things have to happen if they're going to be. He's asking to win a Super Bowl or to get to the Super Bowl.
It says what must he do to get to win the Super Bowl?
To win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the hardest thing in the world to do. They're going to have to get lucky, first of all. Okay? And I don't want any of the fans to think that, I don't think they're good enough. That's not what I'm saying. When you win championships, there's luck involved. That means that you're going to have to have some things work in your favor. And what I mean by that is, health-wise, they need to be able to be the team that's the healthiest at the end of the line. Mm-hmm. If they got the most guys and their best players are healthy and in the position to go and make the run for the championship and run for the Super Bowl, then I think they got a chance to do it. Mm-hmm. For that to happen, one, you're not going to be able to go for fourth downs from your own 30. Yeah. All right, you can't play football like that. You got to play it the right way, in my mind. Mm-hmm. Another thing you got to be able to do is do what you've been doing, running the football, being effective doing that, being able to have solid play from the quarterback like you've been able to do, and then being able to win the third down battle when you're on defense and keeping your defense off the field for long periods of time. Yeah. So when you do that and then the kicking game is able to maintain and be as solid as it has been all season, then you got a chance to win. So to break it down, QB into some basic things, you got to be able to continuously run the football. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to not give up big plays on defense, and you got to be able to not beat yourself by making calls like Coach Campbell did today by giving them 7 points early in the game. You can't spot teams like that and think you're going to win big games like that. So if you do those things, they got a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Devon Snook Spud Williams said the DBs will get better as the season goes along. Corey, how do you feel about that? Do you think they're going to get better?
No, they are who they are right now. What is it, week 7, week 6? I don't see them getting better like during the season. You can get better during the off season, but you're going to see the same David and the same Arnold. I don't think so. No, not at all.
Well, the Lions went out today and did something that, you can't say the same old Lions anymore. They faced adversity. They came back and won this game on a late field goal to end the game. Jake Bates, my guy, wins the game for them. The kicking for both teams has been pretty good. Yeah. Reichert, as I said, was 28 of 28. He has not missed since he got into the league. Jake Bates is doing well also. I know kicking has been a huge issue throughout the NFL, but the Lions and the Vikings, they seem pretty similar. When you look at it, I mean, both running games have been going well for them. Mm-hmm. Quarterback play's been good. The wide receivers have been making plays, and the defensive front and the secondary has also been been really good for them this year. What's your thoughts, Tony?
I agree with Corey when you're talking about the secondary and whether it can improve. Look, guys are who they are. They are who they have been all season. They'll continue to be who they are. Can teams improve? Yeah, but normally it's schematically. It's not because the individual has gained 20 pounds of muscle and he's stronger, or he can run a 4.1.
Good point.
And in 2 weeks because he's faster. Those guys are who they are, and the other teams are going to see, and they'll prepare for them accordingly. Now, can guys improve? They can improve their technique. They can improve on being smarter by watching more film and playing the game better. But you are who you are. Yeah. And secondary-wise, they won't be great, but they need to be able to at least be adequate enough to keep the Lions in position to where they can win games. And I think they've been able to do that, and I think they'll be able to do that the rest of the year. We'll just see how it goes. Look at the team they lost to when it comes to Tampa and how that game went. And the quarterback, played amazing in that game. Yeah. If they can avoid quarterbacks playing great and being able to, hurt you down the field with multiple receivers, then they'll have a chance to be successful. This team wasn't even that type of, Darnold's not that type of a quarterback even. He's not a major threat guy. He's solid. That's what he is. Yeah. They're going to see some really good quarterbacks, and how they play against really good quarterbacks and really good receivers is going to be the telltale sign for the Lions this year.
Another team that picked up their 5th win today in Lambeau, the Green Bay Packers defeated the Houston Texans 24-23. I'll tell you what, 24-33, 220 yards for Jordan Love, 3 touchdowns. Now, he did have 2 picks. The big story here, C.J. Stroud, 10 of 21, 86 yards. The highest receiving was Dalton Schultz, 1 reception for 28 yards. What did you guys think of this game against the Packers and the Texans? Texans are allegedly one of the better teams, but Jordan Love looks like he got through some mistakes to win this game. What are your guys' thoughts on the Packers keeping pace? Tony, Corey,
the NFC North. Remember Ali, Frazier, Foreman. That's what that's the NFC North. Norton.
Yeah.
That's what the NFC North is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a knockout, drag down fight. Yep. Love he's the best quarterback in the division to me. Now, when you keep Goff clean, he can beat you. Keep him clean, he's going to beat you. But you're going to see Love he's a little bit of a risk taker, a bit of a gambler. He can throw off the one leg and do all the fancy stuff. But the Green Bay, and this isn't over. Like Minnesota could easily come back and win at Ford Field. But Green Bay, they're going to be a tough out, just like the Bears and just like the Minnesota again. So it's a tough division. I'm not surprised that they took care of business against the Texans. Let's keep in mind, Stroud is a problem, but Love is a problemer. Stroud is going to have ups and downs. He's still young.
Yeah.
You're going to see this. But the Texans will be fine. But Green Bay, they're going to be forced to deal with. Absolutely.
Ernest Walker on the Roar Chat. Do you guys think we should go out and fill that empty spot for Hutch? If so, then who do you think would be a good fit?
I think you do try to fill the spot. The name of Max Crosby keeps coming up. He's a local guy, played at Eastern Michigan. He's a force to be reckoned with. The issue is, are the Raiders willing to and open to releasing, possibly their franchise player, the face of their organization, even though they're going to probably empty the shelves when it comes to this season. They're going to get a new quarterback. They're going to probably fire the coach, unfortunately. And I don't know if he wants to be a part of any of that. So if the Lions are able to get a guy like that, then you try to get him. The thing is, though, you don't empty you don't give up all your first round picks and things of that nature when it comes to what they're asking. So if the price is right, then you definitely try to get you someone that can help fill that void. Today we saw there was no pressure. Now the sacks that they had, I think they both were by linebackers on some sort of a
Yeah.
a blitz game or even some sort of a twist game with the linebackers involved in it. I'm not sure completely on that, but you're not going to get that. You're not getting any pressure. In the day, you want to get a mid-level quarterback, not a great quarterback.
Right.
The question is going to be when you go against great quarterbacks and you're not getting any pressure, then what you're going to do. And in 2 weeks, you're going to have Green Bay, I believe.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a chance to see what's
going
to
So Blank, let me go back to what you said.
Sure.
So are you trying to win a Super Bowl now, or are you trying to win 3 Super Bowls? Because if you win a Super Bowl now, you want to go get Crosby now, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to win, if you're trying to be a dynasty or whatever, you're trying to continue to win, are you saving those picks and saying, hey, let's just go with what we got? Because I heard Garrett come up. I heard Crosby come up. So if you're trying to win, a lot of people, it's another organization, win now. Win now. Forget it. Yankees do that. Let's win now.
Yeah.
Are the Lions, what do you think they're?
I think you should win now.
Okay.
I don't ever believe you can go into anything thinking that the window is going to continue to stay open. It's not. It never does.
Right. Things change.
Look, pro sports is too fickle.
Yeah.
And look, all you got to do is ask people like Dan Marino.
Yeah.
As a rookie, he played in the Super Bowl and he never made it back.
83, yeah.
So that kind of thing happens.
Yeah.
This is your window.
Okay.
So you gotta, if you got an opportunity to get a guy that can come in there, I think the positive in it is if you do get somebody, then now you got him, that person, and you got Hutchinson coming back next year
So
together.
so forget the picks. Just
I would go now.
Okay.
I would try to get. Look, the teams that have won Super Bowls in the last 3 to 5 years, what have they done?
Go now.
They've gone now.
Yep.
Philadelphia,
Gone now.
the Rams.
Yep.
They've all Kansas City. They've
Yep.
all made in-season trades that helped their
Yep.
team win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And if you got to buy it, then you got to buy it. The Rams bought a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They took your quarterback, Lions. They took, the guy who was the face of your organization and won a Super Bowl.
Brought Rams
So,
over, yeah.
I mean, you got to do it now.
Yep.
I think for me, you see the Raiders are tanking, so to speak.
Yep.
They traded away Devontae Adams to
that was coming.
the New York Jets. I think we, even if you give up a first-round pick or 2, they have shown that they can, draft well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if you can't get Crosby, why not go out and get a Myles Garrett? The Browns today lost 21-14 to the Bengals. Browns sit at 1-6. That could be a guy that could fill in for Hutch.
Yeah, you mentioned draft well. So Lions have lost a whole lot, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't it easy to draft well when you're always losing? You
Yes.
always get the first pick.
Yep.
So can they really go in deep in draft? We haven't seen, do they pick gems? It's easy to get Hutch. It's easy to pick.
Well, their first and second round draft picks have been the leaders of this team now.
Yeah.
Jameer,
Yeah.
Hutch,
Yeah.
Bland, the safeties.
Yeah.
So those are your best players. J-Mo, those are your best players.
Right.
Offensive line, Penny.
Yeah. Panay.
Those are your best players. So they draft well high.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen them jump up to get Jamison Williams, a guy that had an ACL tear coming into the NFL draft, and they kind of sat and waited on him, and he's been productive. We'll see how that goes down the line.
Yeah.
Any other games on Chicago? Of course, has a bye week this week.
Yep.
Any other games when you look at what transpired today? Broncos won 30-10 over the on Thursday night against the Saints. Saints have been up and down. Broncos have been been doing pretty well with Bo Nix.
Yeah, they're getting serious.
Jaguars win today 32-16 over the Patriots. The Bills, Amari Cooper. Here's a guy that is a great receiver on the tail side of his career. But he had a touchdown today, 34-10 against a Titans team that will be coming into, as we said earlier, into Ford Field next week. Colts, 16-10 over the Dolphins. Any of these games surprise you?
No.
Seahawks beating the Falcons 34-14.
None of these are surprises. I don't even know what to pick anymore. None of these are surprises. What I do like to see is Buffalo adjusting with Cooper because Josh Allen, he needs the guy, but not the guy. Like the Diggs situation got totally out of control.
Yeah.
But it's good. Amari's not going to – he's going to run his routes. He's going to be quiet. He's going to do what he has to do. So that's a good pickup for them. Keep an eye on Buffalo down the stretch.
You are watching My Michigan TV, and of course, this great show, The Roar Live, right here. And of course, you can get into the show, The Roar Live. Call in Zoom. We want to hear from you. We heard from Eastfield Joey earlier on. We've been hearing from our Roar chats. Another one from Devon Snook Spud Williams. He's got four names here. Said, yes, sir, blank. Health is the most important thing. I would agree with you. I think with the Lions, if they would have lost Montgomery today, that could have been a real crushing blow. Thank God, he was able to duke it out, so to speak, and get back in. Health is always the key, as we've talked about before. Do you guys see any more of these players injury-wise affecting their quality of play going into next week against the Titans? I mean, I know Montgomery, with them not having Montgomery, do you think Vaki will take over there, or do you think they're just going to go Gibbs?
No. They're going to go Gibbs. Gibbs is going to get a high dosage of carries.
Exactly.
And he's a home run hitter, and he's a problem. And the thing the misconception is this guy can run in between the tackles.
He can run in.
He's not just a sweep guy.
No, he's not.
So he can run any style you want. Now, his body isn't made up, and he's not as big, as Montgomery. He's not as physical in that capacity as far as his stature, but he runs hard. He runs with some gall and physicality. There is a concern with health because he's going to take a lot more hits.
Yeah.
That's a part of it. But I can tell you, man, give that young man the ball.
Yeah. Listen, Blank. To me, they don't need Montgomery. It's good to have him. I'm not crazy, but it's good to have this guy. He's the back. Like you can start. They'll be fine without Montgomery. Back in the day, you had one back, right?
That's all.
Dorsett took over. Dickerson took over. Peyton took. This is great to have the two-headed monster. To get him goal line and tough. He's big. He's burly. But I'm fine with him being the lead guy and taking over the reins as a head back. Absolutely. Now, I saw Goff take a shot today. God forbid anything happens to him.
I agree.
We can just shut the door. The season's over. It's over. But if they stay healthy, they stay clean, Lions will be fine. Like I said, the defense, linebackers keep making plays. Your corners aren't going to get any better. It's up to the linebackers now to fill in for Hutch. That's what it is to me. Stay clean. But I do think, Campbell, to me, that's going to be the key. He's going to be the key, period.
Was it shocking? In a way, was it shocking? I guess it's not shocking, but it is. To me, it was kind of stupid of them to go in that first quarter
to fake a
go
punt
for a fake
on your own
punt.
30.
It's almost becoming like old hat, so to speak. So you kind of know it's kind of going to happen, don't you think?
Is he doing it to say this is me, or is he doing it to I'm going to do it no matter what, even though I think it's stupid, I'm still going to do it? Is that what he's doing? I don't know. But that's the Hall of Famer coach over there. He disagree with it. I disagree with it. You disagree with it. I don't know. I think he ultimately may get in the way of this success train. I really believe that. So I don't know. We'll see, man. I don't know.
You can't be the cause of your team losing football games. It can't be ever because of you.
And actually, that call could have cost.
It could have cost me. It
down
can't.
the road.
It can be because of you that you win games. Right. You're supposed to help your players win football games. I've always said this. I have a theory. As a coach, there are going to be times I got to be able to bail you out.
Yep.
That's my job. I got to be able to call a perfect game sometimes. I got to be able to make the best situation for my team so that I can bail them out because they're players and they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I can't be the one costing my team games, though. It can't be because of me. Mm-hmm. That can't ever happen. And going back all the way from last year, you can say, okay, against San Fran, he had 2 drops. Yeah. I understand the drops. Those are physical mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't have situations where you're giving teams opportunities to beat you as a coach by not kicking field goals.
Yeah.
By going for it all the time
Yeah.
in situations on fourth down. We don't have to.
Yeah.
You can out-coach teams sometimes. You don't have to gimmick your way through it. You can literally out-coach. You're good enough as an organization. You're good enough as a coach.
Yep.
Your players are good enough as a team. You don't have to do the stuff that's going on sometimes.
Yep.
And, again, I don't get it. I know you're going to have some trick plays. I know you got to take an opportunity to take chances.
Sure.
But you don't have to take a chance from your own 30 to fake a punt. Yeah. Minnesota was overly prepared for that play, as you saw.
Yep.
It was a tackle for a loss.
Yep. Yeah.
So you don't have to do that.
Yeah. You don't have to do. I agree.
Well, you know, this gentleman here likes to tell it like it is. Corey, do you got one to get under the skin of Lions fans, or maybe, you know?
No, I'll tell it like it is are not negatives.
Okay.
They're not to get under.
You got
the
a positive this
skin.
week?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. The
Let's hear
Lions took care of business in a hostile environment, and I have to eat crow with your man Bates. I thought he would choke today, and I have to eat crow with the Lions. I thought they'd lose this game today. I thought they'd lose this game today. Minnesota's still a good team. They're a tough team. Like I said, the defense, they look the same. And if Hutch was there, I didn't see much of a difference, to be honest with you. But I have to take my hat off to the Lions, who were down, and they came back and they persevered and got the win in a very, very difficult, environment. So hats off to them. Hats off to Goff too, and Gibbs. Those are my players. Gibbs is my player of the game by far, catching, running, doing everything to secure that victory. So hats off to the Lions.
Looking at the later games today so far, we have the Raiders up on the Rams 3-0.
Oh, my God.
That's 7 minutes and 4 seconds into the second quarter.
That's like
The
watching
Commanders 20-0 right now over the Panthers. That's also in the second quarter.
Jeez.
Jaden Daniels is looking pretty good.
Yeah, he is. And you got go back to the Lions. Who they got? Oh, you got a bye next week.
Who's that?
Lions.
Oh,
No.
Lions got Titans.
They
next
got the
week.
Titans. They had the bye already.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a bye.
Oh, that's your bye.
Yeah,
Oh,
you get
man.
another bye.
The Titans are the bye.
Yeah, you get another bye.
Not in the NFL.
I don't know.
Not in the NFL. It used to be. I mean, no, it's not in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be
they
honest
can
with
muck up the game.
They can.
But Lions should beat them by 2 touchdowns, I think. So.
You hope. I would love to see it. I said last week, I said you almost have to be worried that they were going to go into Minnesota and get blown out. And in that first quarter, it kind of looked like it was drifting towards that way.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
the coach helped. Look, you can't do that. All you got to do is punt the ball.
49ers up 3-0 on the Chiefs, 13:45 into the second quarter. The late games tonight at 8:20. Jets with Devontae Adams head into Pittsburgh, Tony's big team. How do you guys feel? Does this make Aaron Rodgers just that much better now that he's got his man back?
Well, first of all, Devontae never should have left Green Bay. That's first. He saw Aaron Bolton, then he bolted. But do you have enough now, Aaron Rodgers? Can we? When are people going to say that he looks like Willis, the kid that left, Zach Wilson or whatever his name is? Aaron Rodgers is playing horrible.
Yeah.
And he's handcuffed that team. And we got to watch this. Pittsburgh and the Jets. NFL could have flexed this, couldn't they? We got to watch this tonight. The Jets are awful. And the big reason of it is Aaron Rodgers. So now you got your guy. Now what's going to be next? What's the next excuse? And nobody's mentioning how bad Aaron Rodgers is playing. I haven't heard it once.
That is true.
This is crazy. He got the same stats as Zach Wilson.
And
I like Aaron Rodgers.
He kind of reminds me of how Favre was on the tail end of his career,
this is
trying to
great.
make throws that he just can't make anymore.
He's 40.
Yeah, I mean,
Favre was a play away from going to the Super Bowl
Yeah, he was.
when he was in Minnesota.
When Minnesota, yeah.
He was a play away.
He threw the pick, right?
He threw the pick.
He threw the pick.
He was a play away from going to
Yeah,
the Super Bowl.
but this Rodgers stuff, man. I mean, and stop telling me you didn't have Salafire. Come on. This is enough is enough. It's just New York chaos. It's crazy.
Yeah, the NFL is a no fun league. You never know. You never know.
Yeah. So we got the Jets and Steelers tonight. I'll be watching, of course, because we're
for
football
sure.
guys. And maybe Pittsburgh can muck something up. We'll see. This is a big game for the Jets. Now you got your guy back. Let's see what happens here.
You are watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. We want to hear from you. That is the Zoom QR code. Scan it. We want to talk to you. That's right. Give us your questions, your comments. We're hearing a lot from our friends and family here in the Roar chat. We've heard from Eastvale Joey on the Zoom line. Monday night, guys, some good games. 2 tomorrow night. Ravens against the Buccaneers in Tampa, and Tony's Chargers, his Jim Harbaugh Chargers, heading to Arizona to play the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Let's take the first game, Ravens-Buccaneers. This should be a good matchup. Both teams playing pretty well. Baker Mayfield, as you so affectionately call Bubby Brister.
Used to be.
Yeah,
he's a real deal.
He's
MVP
looking like
candidate.
the
He's
real
MVP
deal.
candidate, for real.
And I know the Browns are shooting themselves in the foot a little bit
They
for
wouldn't have
letting him
known.
go.
They wouldn't have known he was going to be.
That's true.
Yeah, and they had so many coaches and things like that.
Yeah.
Baker looks good, man. He looks like that confident kid in Oklahoma when he was there. You know, he looks good. People keep forgetting he was #1 draft pick.
#1 pick.
That was my beef with him. He wasn't playing like that, but he went through a lot of stuff in Cleveland. I think the big thing, get the team, people rally around you, Blink. You know how it goes. You're a coach, got the coach. Everybody's confident in him.
Yep.
And every game he plays with a chip. Now, I think they lose tomorrow because of the Henry factor. I think the Ravens are on a mission to get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah,
That's the deal. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be physical, ugly, Evans, big receiver. It's going to be one of those ugly. I mean, I can't wait to watch, but I think Baltimore comes away with a victory by a touchdown.
What about your Chargers?
Look, Jim has done a good job of creating a culture with the players that he has. They'll get better over the next few years, but they still run the football well.
Yep.
They're still efficient.
Yep.
And they're still winning football games. They don't look good doing it all the time, but that's just the way the NFL is. And they're one of those teams that are like in the lower tier of the NFL right now. So, nobody's really paying attention, but he's still getting wins.
Yeah.
So
Is Herbert healthy? He goes tomorrow? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I had a question. Me and Corey, we talked a little bit of this on the Cohen Bro Opinion Show. He says Justin Herbert isn't as good as what a lot of people think he is. I disagree. I just feel like he's in a different type of offense with Jim Harbaugh. You've seen it at Michigan. J.J. McCarthy could pass the ball when he could, or when they let him, but it was mostly a run offense.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're seeing
Run
here
first.
with the Chargers. But do you think Herbert is having a problem adjusting to that offense?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to, real quick, Mike. I think he's talented. I think they elevated him too fast. I think Harbaugh, now that he's there, like I said this before, they're going to go run. I think you're going to see, like the old Cowboys, Aikman give it, then playmaker, playmaker, Novacek.
Yeah.
I think that's the style that Jim is going to. He's going to go run first. I was saying he is a talent. Don't get me wrong, big kid, big arm, but did they just, put him right to the top, and then he doesn't. He still throws for a ton of yards, but now that Harbaugh's there, he's gonna bring that reel that in.
It'll be condensed.
Yeah. So I still think he's talented. I think he's terrible, but I think they capped him out too early. Give the kid a chance. Like they just had him as Montana or
Yeah,
Elway.
I think that's the media,
Yeah,
Scott. I think
yeah.
the media made him something bigger than he was. He had a big arm. He's a big kid. He's
Yeah.
athletic. He can run. But I think being under Harbaugh's tutelage, that he'll get the best out of him. You haven't seen Harbaugh have a good, sound quarterback and that quarterback not be good. As long as you give him a guy that can play the position, going all the way back to Kaepernick, they're going to be good football players, and they're going to play well in his system. You'll see him play well in that system. Now, I don't think he's, on the same level as the top 5 guys in the league or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of these guys in the NFL are top 5 guys anymore.
It's 1 and 2.
It's 1 or 2 guys, and and they're
maybe
young.
three.
And these young. It's Daniels. It's Stroud. It's of course Patrick Mahomes is number 1.
Lamar,
I think
Burrow.
And I think Lamar and Burrow are your second tier guys, and then I think those young guys are the third tier guys.
And then Allen, sneak him in there.
Yeah, Allen can maybe be in there with those guys too, but I think it's that's what I think. Herbert is not there. He's not in that top echelon of quarterbacks, but he's going to be good for what Harbaugh likes to do.
Harbaugh getting good.
You're watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan Television. Getting back to this Detroit Lions game. In this 31-29 victory, do you have a player of the game?
Oh, yeah.
Man, for me, again, it would have to be Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Just because he came in and during that last drive, and he positioned them to win the football game.
Yeah.
Not only did he do that, he was efficient throughout the whole game. He had over 100 yards rushing. People may not remember David Washington never saw the field again after the fumble.
Yeah.
He never played again.
Yeah.
And he took on the load. He carried the team on his
Yeah,
shoulders. He caught a couple
Montgomery.
passes out the backfield.
Yep.
Made some solid runs. He makes it uncomfortable for
he
defenses.
does.
So I believe he's the player of the game for me for the Lions.
What about you, Cole?
For me, I'm gonna stay with the coach, and I'm gonna go. You remember how they say Kyrie, he can dance. This kid can dance. Mm-hmm. He can dance. His feet. I love his feet. I'm gonna go with him, and I'm gonna sneak your guy in. Honorable mention, Bates. That's huge to win the game. 40-yarder. He could have easily been having some mind games and playing tricks in his mind. He nailed it, sealed the win. Jahmyr, then Bates. Honorable mention.
I am going to go Jake Bates
There's
with
a
the
course you are.
last.
Yeah, there's a shocker.
There's a shocker, right? Hey, anytime you can beat a Minnesota Viking team that has really improved this year,
Yeah.
and show you the tenacity that the Lions did to win this game late and come back. This was a back and forth, like I said earlier, a heavyweight fight between these two teams. I'm going to go Jake Bates. Guys, hitting on week 8 at Ford Field, the Titans come to town. Corey thinks it's going to be a 2-point victory, a 2-score victory for the Lions. Tony, how do you feel about the Titans? They've been kind of up and down this year.
They're 1-5.
They're
not a very good football team.
not.
They're not coached very well.
They're not.
They don't really have the players. The quarterback situation is
Will
Levis. It's really bad. He throws a lot of interceptions. Lions will win by a lot.
Yeah.
Key to the game like this is to get in there and dominate it, get those starters out of there, and get those young guys some reps so you can start getting prepared for Green Bay.
Yeah. I know you know it. Never know what happens.
You don't.
I'm gonna 99.90.
Yes.
The Lions
Yeah.
game.
They're not going. They should handle this game without
Titans
problem.
stink.
Yeah, they're terrible.
It stink.
Christian Dunson on the Roar Live chat wanted to say Gibbs stepped up when Montgomery fell off. I agree with you.
Yep. Absolutely, Christian.
And then Ernest Walker also says, I believe the change of scenery helped Baker's career. We were talking that earlier, the Buccaneers against that have the Ravens coming to town tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I
agree with Ernest.
I think they found not to get back on the Buccaneers bandwagon again, but I think Baker Mayfield found a team that actually says, we want you.
Well, also too, Scott. I agree with the kid Ernest, but from the top they're good.
Yeah.
The organization is good.
Right.
Yeah.
They know how to draft. They know how, they're good. So this is a good, solid place for him. He can, dominate that South Division. They have good players. They have a good organization.
Yeah.
Christian Dunson said, don't underestimate them because underdogs have a fight harder and the Lions can't slack or sleep on them. I would assume he's referring to the Titans. Yeah, I agree with you. This is a game that, to me, they have to win because I'm sure the Vikings are going to take this loss today, not very good, and come out next week and do what they have to do to win. The Packers are going to be, they're going to be feisty and wanting to win next week.
Yeah.
Bears will play next week. Yeah. They're going to try to keep pace with the Lions. Let's look at the NFL standings for the division, North Division here on the Roar Live. As you know, the Detroit Lions are 5-1. The Vikings are 5-1. We have the tiebreaker there. Chicago 4-2. Vikings, it says 4-2, but they're actually 5-2. So they're keeping pace.
The Vikings are 5-1, right?
The Vikings are 5. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a little behind the times here. No, they're 5-1. This is their first loss.
First
loss.
loss.
5-1.
So let me ask you guys this.
Sure.
So now at the end of the game, they said the Lions are in first.
Yes.
Why?
Because they have that division.
Because they head to head.
They had. The head to head.
The head to head makes them first.
Right. Sorry. Yep. Head to head makes them first. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, any other things you guys want to get it off your chest before we take up out of here?
I'll say this: if the Lions, want to show people that they're a real big time organization, then they'll be disciplined enough to go out there and take care of business next week. When you're a big time organization and you're a big time football team in the NFL, you take care of teams like the Titans without a problem. Now, I'm not saying you ever take them for granted, but that's my point. You won't ever take anybody for granted when you're on a mission to take care of business and do what you're supposed to do.
That's a good
You're
point.
not going to take them for granted because you're going to go and you're going to dominate them. And
That's
you're going to do it from the beginning to the end. It's going to be a dominant performance.
That's a good point.
That's what big-time championship organization teams do. They go and they just dominate.
That's a good point.
That team should not be in the game next week.
That's a good point. I'm going to take them for granted. The Lions shouldn't.
Exactly.
But I will. So they'll beat the Titans.
We could do that.
Yeah, right. We're not.
We can do it.
Christian Dunson has another comment. Big ups to the Lions defense, even with Hutch out. The adjustments were incredible. Thank you, Christian, for that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
As you know, the Lions won today 31-29. Jared Goff, 22 of 25, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Alex Anzalone, 7 tackles.
Yep.
Jack Campbell got in on a sack. Rodriguez got in on a sack. Joshua Paschal, who was one of the guys filling in for the injured Hutchinson, got in there for a sack. The Lions looking like a train that is not going to be stopped.
Or could we give those sacks were who?
Paschal?
Paschal was the DN, correct?
Yes.
Back up.
Yep.
And he got his late in the game.
Yes.
Yep. No.
That doesn't count?
No.
He did have 4 tackles today.
That's fine. Okay. I'm just talking about the pass rush. But
Tony's a little hard on him.
The other sacks came from linebackers. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
If they're gonna
I said that.
They don't bring anybody in.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to use blitz packages and some type of
linebackers. It's your guy, Scott.
twist games that include linebackers. Yeah, I'm congratulations for the young man getting a sack at the end of the game. But no, you're gonna have to be able to call that. Darnold sat back there comfortably for the most part throughout the game. And then and the thing that was really alarming is even when he wasn't able to find anyone with all the time that he was able to step up and even find seams and was able to run the football some and cause some issues too.
Well, you know who I thought crapped the bed? James Houston. Here's a guy that a couple years ago had, I think, double-digit sacks.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that, they thought he was going to be one of the future defensive linemen. Stays hurt. He really did not play well
thought
today.
He was any good.
Non-existent.
Never thought he was any good. Where's Laporta? Was he hurt?
Laporta played today, but they only one pass for 25 yards. It was a 25-yard pass. What we've seen though, guys, is like Goff has done a good job of spreading the ball around.
I mentioned that earlier.
I said last week, I think there was like 5 or 6 receivers that had over 25 yards apiece.
Yeah, but today he missed. He wasn't able to get to Laporta or Williams today. Okay. And I credit the defense for Minnesota. Yeah. Okay. Credit the coordinator. Did a good job.
I've been impressed with Tim Patrick. 2 for 25. He always seems to be able to get that that
That
big
one catch, yeah.
to get him in scoring position.
Yeah, he's a rangy
just
guy.
like
He's big,
He's big,
tall.
yeah.
He's a guy that he can find.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yep. Good win today. Good win.
Christian Dunson said, Coach Blankenship taught me in high school.
Yep. I know who Christian is. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
I believe it, Murray Wright Pilot?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you've been watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. The Lions 31-29 this week. You gotta love it. They go back to Ford Field to take on the Titans. That game, 1 o'clock. We'll be on right after that. So we'll be on about 4 o'clock, 4:30, guys?
Somewhere around there.
Something like
Yep,
that.
yep.
So we'll see how that. We want you to definitely catch us next week. You can do that by downloading the My Michigan TV app. You could watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Facebook. And hey, if you were afraid this week to get in on the Zoom chat, save that Zoom chat and get your thoughts and comments together and bring it to us next week. We want to hear you. We love hearing from Eastvale Joey, but we want to hear from more of you on the Zoom. We're hearing a lot of people here on the Roar chat. We appreciate that. Christian, who else do we have on here on the chat? Spud. I believe we had
Shout out to those guys.
for Neil Daniels.
Okay.
Ernest Walker got in on the chat.
Appreciate that.
Sean Black got
My
in
man,
on the
QB.
chat. Yes. You can also catch this group of guys on the Co and Bro Opinion Show, streaming on your favorite podcasting platform. We're on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. We are there. We like to talk a myriad of different topics, not just sports. We get into the MLB, which is Corey's forte.
Shout out to
with
New
his Yankees.
They're in.
And those MLB games are definitely heating up, getting into the World Series. Yankees going into the World Series.
Yep.
And I still think we're waiting for the Mets and the Dodgers.
Yep.
So thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week. Right here on My Michigan TV, you've been watching The Roar Live. For Tony and Corey and Jared and David in the back control room, I'm Scotty William. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, right after the Lions' victory against the Titans.
For sure.
See you then.